Hello, I'm Monica Reinagel, the Nutrition Diva, here with your quick and dirty tips for eating well and feeling fabulous. And this week, I have a great tip for getting more protein without overloading on calories. And I think this will be especially useful for those of you on plant-based diets. Nutrition Diva is sponsored by the audiobook edition of Formerly Known as Food by nutrition expert Kristen Lawless. Over the past 100 years, it's become harder for us to know what we're eating. And in this audiobook, Lawless argues that our diet is changing our bodies from the inside out. Aiming to set the debate over food politics for the next decade, Formerly Known as Food speaks to a new generation looking for a different conversation about the food on our plates. Listen to an excerpt now at macmillanaudio.com/formerly known as food. Just a few weeks ago, I talked about the concept of fiber density, which is a way of looking at how much fiber a food contains per calorie. And as we discovered, some high-fiber foods are also relatively high in calories. Choosing foods with a high fiber density, which have more fiber per calorie, can help you increase your fiber intake without blowing out your calorie budget. Well, protein can present a similar dilemma, especially for vegetarians. In order to get the same amount of protein from black beans as I would from chicken breast, for example, I'd have to eat 3 times as many calories. It can be challenging to increase your protein intake using plant-based sources without taking in more calories than you need, and this is where the concept of protein density can really help. Just as we did for fiber density, we can calculate the protein density of a food by dividing the protein by the calories. Foods with a higher protein density will provide more protein per calorie. So, which foods have the most protein per calorie? Well, not surprisingly, animal proteins like meat, fish, eggs, and chicken have a much higher protein density than plant-based proteins like beans, nuts, seeds, and grains. Among the animal proteins that I compared, chicken breast, egg whites, and low-fat cottage cheese have the highest protein density. Whole eggs, cheese, and other full-fat dairy products were among the lowest in protein density. Now, that's not to say that full-fat dairy products aren't good for you, or that egg whites are better than whole eggs. Remember, protein isn't the be-all and end-all of good nutrition. But if you are looking for ways to get more protein with fewer calories, then those are probably not the foods that you'd want to turn to. The protein density score is even more useful if you're limiting yourself to plant-based proteins. Certain vegetables, especially mushrooms, leafy greens, and cabbage, have a surprisingly high protein density. Bok choy, for example, has a protein density score of 12. That's about the same as lean ground beef. That means that if you eat 100 calories worth of bok choy or lean beef, you'll get about 12 grams of protein. That's not too shabby. But here's the rub. You'd have to eat about 8 cups of bok choy to get as much protein and calories as you'd get from just a 3-ounce hamburger. That's an awful lot of bok choy. Even though they have a high protein density, these vegetables may not be a practical way to get a whole lot of protein at one time. Tofu, on the other hand, not only has the same amount of protein per calorie as lean ground beef, but also the same amount of protein per serving. Now, some of the things that vegetarians consider to be go-to protein sources have surprisingly low protein density scores. Almonds, for example, have a protein density of just 3.5. Sunflower seeds, even lower, just 2.8. And that means you'll have to take in a lot of calories to get a little protein. In terms of protein, peanuts and pumpkin seeds are your best bets in the nut and seed category, with a protein density of 4 and 5, respectively. So just remember the letter P: peanuts, pumpkin seeds, and protein. I found some more comparisons that you might find surprising, but first I want to pause to thank our sponsor, Third Love. Using thousands of real women's measurements, Third Love designs its bras with size and shape in mind, so they fit impeccably and they feel even better. And now, since adding 24 new sizes, Third Love offers the most options of any brand, a total of 70 sizes. With Third Love's Fit Finder quiz, you can find your fit in 60 seconds online, order, and then try it on at home. And if you have any questions about their styles, the sizing, or your quiz results, you can chat with a representative. In my experience, their customer service is super friendly, but also really knowledgeable, which is what you want. Third Love knows that there's a perfect bra for everyone, so right now they're offering you 15% off your first order. Go to thirdlove.com/diva now to find your perfect fitting bra and get 15% off your first purchase. That's thirdlove.com/diva for 15% off today. So here's a protein comparison that may surprise you a little bit. Although we tend to think of wheat as a carbohydrate, it actually has a decent amount of protein as well. Whole wheat bread, for example, has a protein density of 5, about the same as whole milk, and significantly higher than quinoa, which is often heralded for its protein content. As you can see, the protein density score gives you an easy way to compare similar foods. Black beans have a protein density score of 6, and that means that 100 calories worth of black beans only delivers 6 grams of protein. Edamame, on the other hand, has a protein density of around 10. So you get 50% more protein from the same number of calories. Earlier this year, I reviewed 2 vegan hamburger products, the Impossible Burger and the Beyond Burger. You might remember those episodes. Well, the Beyond Burger is made of pea protein, and it has a protein density of 7. The Impossible Burger, which is made from soy and wheat protein, has a protein density of 9. And by way of comparison, a regular hamburger has a protein density of 10. Here are a couple of more unexpected findings. Cheddar cheese has a protein density of 5, but mozzarella is around 8. A regular baked potato has a protein density of 3, which is about the same as almonds, compared with a baked sweet potato, which is only 2. And while similar in calories, it turns out that whole wheat pasta beats out egg noodles in terms of protein density, 4-3. Just for fun, I've posted a table of some healthy foods and their protein density, and you can find a link to that in the transcript for today's show, which is at nutritiondiva.quickanddirtytips.com. But you can quickly calculate and compare protein densities of various foods by dividing the protein by the calories and then multiplying by 100. Although both the calories and the protein will change with the serving size, the protein density will not. Now, I should also point out that protein density does not take into account protein quality. Because they contain a more optimal distribution of essential amino acids, those animal proteins not only have a higher protein density, they also have a higher biological value than most plant-based proteins. Nonetheless, protein density can still be useful, and it is a whole lot easier to calculate. Let me know whether you find protein density to be a useful tool. You can post your comments on our website or on the Nutrition Diva Facebook page, where you can also post your nutrition questions for me to answer. Also, just a quick reminder that the Way Less program kicks off next week on July 6th. This is a group coaching program that I created with my colleague Brock Armstrong of the Get Fit Guy podcast, and we help our members achieve sustainable weight loss and behavior change. If you'd like more information about that, you can go to wayless.life. And if you decide to join us, which I hope you will, be sure to use the promo code QDTND to save $50 on your enrollment. Thanks so much for listening today. I'll be back next week with more quick and dirty tips. In the meantime, have a great week and remember to eat something good for me.